Andrew Lockwood here. It's June 2023, summertime. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got West Coast labor disputes being resolved. We've got the trucking market. What's happening next? What's going on in the warehousing industry? So we've got a lot to cover. Let's get to it. Taking a look at the U.S. here, we're seeing some stability. I think we have hit the floor, right? 206 in April, 205 in May, slightly above that, 208 in June so far. Thank you, DAT, for the rates there. Outbound tender rejects still around the 3% level, so there's still a lot of softness in the market. But check this out. If you look at the lower right-hand corner there, DOT operating authorities, these are being revoked at a record pace, around 2,000 a month. So that's going to pull some capacity out of the market, and that's what we need to happen for a new freight cycle to really start. All right, moving on. Let's look at capacity there. So you see total truck transportation employees. There's certainly been an increase there over the past 3 years, but from an overall truck tonnage standpoint, it's actually kind of flat since January of 2020, and we're seeing a little bit of a decline the past month or two. On the ocean front, in the China to U.S. West Coast lane, that's gone up to about $2,500 from a floor of around $1,000, what we saw 2 months ago. So a little bit of price increase there. Overall, TEUs imported into the U.S. is still, it's really on pace with 2019 levels, far below, 10-15% below where it was 2021 and 2022. Good news on the port. So we saw a little bit of disruption here from a transit time standpoint on the U.S. West Coast. We expect that to get cleaned up. So last week there was a tentatively reached agreement for 6 years. That should help really clean that up. So don't worry as much about that noise moving forward. On the warehousing front, Phoenix has now supplanted Dallas as the largest metro market with construction. That was an interesting change, but they're still way outpacing any other market here in the U.S. Phoenix is 1, Dallas is 2. Total employment on the warehouse front has been fairly stable after hitting a peak in January. Like this graph, I've been a big fan of Houston. If you've been keeping up with this, I have no ties to Houston, but I love their vacancy rate. I love that average rent. I think that is the best market to be in. Centrally located, close to a port. I'm not sure why more logistics companies are not going there, but that is the best buy in the market right now. Southern California is still seeing a lot of constriction, just from a vacancy rate standpoint, and that's kind of propping up average rents. Overall, average rents are decreasing just a little bit as there's a little less demand and the supply starts to come online. But we're seeing overall less building right now, less construction starting based on the current financial markets and interest rates. All right, lastly, I love the supply chain indices. Cass Freight Index, no surprise, this is still down year over year by a few percentage points. Global Supply Chain Pressure Index has dipped into negative territory as of earlier this year, so it's around 2 standard deviations from that average value. And then from a leverage standpoint, if you're a carrier in the trucking market, this is again no surprise. Like any kind of negative environment there below that zero line from a trucking condition, it's tough to operate a trucking business right now. But as a shipper, you still have that leverage, especially that number above zero. So that is your June update. Tune in next month. We'll have revised numbers here for July, and we'll cover all the pressing topics in the industry. Have a good one.